Using the environment as effectively as possible to reach fantastic heights and, in many cases, escape armed guards is the basic thrust of DICE's Mirror's Edge. Through a first-person perspective, you're given the opportunity to take leaps of faith across skyscrapers, wall run above treacherous drops, vault over gates, and even ride on top of speeding subway cars. Mirror's Edge's single-player campaign is short and linear. This isn't a sandbox game, but as a result, the high-intensity action platforming never gets stale. You play as Faith, a runner being hunted by troops of a totalitarian regime of a future age. DICE's artistic vision here is strong. Environments are stark, antiseptic playgrounds, except for those damn rats. Bright swaths of oranges, blues, and greens are interspersed with near blinding whites to create a sense of the surreal that meshes well with the seemingly superhuman acrobatics the game allows you to pull off and the ethereal electronic soundtrack. Since you never leave the first person, the game could be a little disorienting for some. Rolling into somersaults after high-altitude dives or rapidly performing 180-degree turns when attached to a wall can make for a perspective that's in a constant state of flux, but it's grounded by the fact that Faith's limbs are made a prominent part of what's visible. You'll never feel like a floating anomaly in the game as Faith's legs and arms are regularly brought into view while dangling from a ledge or swinging from a pipe. These kind of immersive aspects make for a powerful feeling of continuity as you blast through environments where the chief concern is maintaining momentum. There isn't a single run speed in the game. You accelerate to a top speed, so properly timing rolls and ducks and flips keeps you moving quickly and, simply by virtue of allowing you to perform seemingly impossible stunts in semi-realistic fashion, proves to be rewarding. This thrill of fluid movement is bogged down somewhat when it comes to combat, which you'll be forced into at points. Faith can disarm foes, and doing so requires a precise button press that breaks the mesmerizing continuity of movement. If this could have been implemented more elegantly into the overall framework, it would have made for a more cohesive game, but as it is, the disarm mechanic is still workable after a little practice, though never ideal. If you do decide to pick up a weapon and shoot, you'll find the gunplay mechanics to be pretty weak, but then again, that's not really what this game is about. Another of the game's weak spots is its story, which is presented with awkward and roughly animated sequences filled with ponderous dialogue totally at odds with the rest of the slick presentation and gameplay. Though you're never given any satisfying kind of explanation about the history of the fictional world and the overall setup, I actually appreciated that, as the mystery of the setting worked well with the otherwise dreamlike atmosphere. With the PC version, you'll get expected features like detailed graphical tweaking and support for mouse and keyboard, as well as a 360 gamepad. I found, after tweaking the button assignments a bit, that the mouse and keyboard actually work pretty well. Graphically, the game seemed to perform well on our rigs. With the added physics effects for this version enabled, we still had the occasional big frame rate drop even with the GeForce 8800 GTX, though it was limited to only a couple of areas in the campaign. Aside from the main story, you'll find time trial and speedrun modes to test your parkour skills, and leaderboards that'll let you match up your times with those of the community. Considering these emphasize the strongest bits of the game, navigating environmental platforming puzzles as quickly and therefore as fluidly as possible, they're much more than just a cursory diversion. If you missed out on this gem when it came out on consoles in November last year, don't overlook it again. It's a great looking game with a bold, strongly realized playstyle that, despite having some awkward combat and narrative idiosyncrasies, is absolutely worth checking out. For the full written review, head over to pc.ign.com.